What's good, y'all? Welcome back. I want to first thank you guys. To be honest, I want to thank you guys who have found my channel by way of just kind of looking on YouTube and have kind of stumbled onto it. I want to thank you guys who have looked for my channel or looked for this kind of content and you found me. I want to thank you guys for who have found my channel via my social media pages on Twitter or on Instagram, and I've gone to my videos and liked them and of course follow them and have been able to gain from things as well. And I want to thank you guys who have gone to my page by way of recommendation from friends of mine as well. So thank you guys all for coming in and joining in on my experience, joining in on my sharing, and joining in on my life that I'm putting out here via YouTube as well. So thank you. Let's get down to business to defeat, to uncover, to discover our life. So my stutter, let's always start off of course there. I'm excited to see some growth, just a little bit of growth. And again, because my stutter started off, or it seemed to stem from my anxiety. Working through my anxiety, hitting my anxiety head on with a plan of sorts always helps. I found, oddly enough, that my anxiety comes just as a natural part of, I guess, who I am. And an outcropping of that anxiety expresses itself by way of my stutter, right? So it's funny because, it's funny and sad, but it's funny because I get anxiety in situations, I stutter. As I stutter, my anxiety is increased because I'm concerned about how people will perceive me as I stutter. Then of course I get more anxiety and I stutter more. So I'm in this really crazy cycle of anxiety driven via life, stutter driven via anxiety, like circle and cycle. And the one thing that I've talked about before in the past videos is that I always try to come back to the present, to being mindful and breathing and speaking my truth. And that happened in a situation that I was in this past Sunday or Monday. There was an event, a black business event that one of my friends put on, Chris, who's the co-founder or is the founder of a collective called the FREEDOPECREATIV, I believe. I'll confirm that. But he had an event and I wanted to go up and I hadn't planned anything at all. But I went ahead and went up. I was battling in my mind about what am I gonna say, how I'm gonna say it, because on the spot in front of a group, that's just not me, like at all. So I thought through some things and I was able to figure out a couple concepts to kind of speak from, and I did. I stumbled, of course, I stuttered, of course, but it was truthful and it was honest. And I felt good being able to overcome it all and come up with a way to be able to speak my truth. I mentioned two things from the jump. I said, guys, I got two problems. I stutter and I have anxiety. And that was the groundwork. And that was the gateway into me getting up, me being honest and being real, and then of course going from there. So I'm finding the more I'm just honest and truthful about what's going on with me, like up front, that helps to get it out there and make me more human and gives me less to stress about because they already know what's good with me. So that's out the way. So that really helps a lot as far as my anxiety, which drives my stutter, which drives my anxiety, which drives the stutter. But yeah, that's that. Yoga wise, I'm really excited. I'm nearing the end of the non-asana based studies. And I wanted to just read one of the areas that I'm reading right now. There are several kinds of yogas. There's Hatha yoga, there's apparently Jnana yoga, there's Raja yoga, there's all kind of yogas for different purposes and different needs, of course. Different paths, of course. They all in some way overlap. But one in particular that stuck out to me recently was the yoga of karma. And I want to read a passage from the book here that resonated with me personally, particularly because it's kind of how I used to live prior to coming to yoga. And I, of course, want to apply it even more intensely now that I found it as well. So karma yogins reinforce wisdom in work and in action with set periods of meditation for mental hygiene and deeper insight. But there's a sense in which meditation and contemplation are possible at any moment, not just when it's planned or set periods of. Each action, when performed with right attention, becomes contemplative. And that really messed me up because oftentimes prior to getting into this study, I found myself in that state of contemplation, but it wasn't intentional. It was just kind of like where I was with my head and my mind, my thoughts. And it's good to be able to see that that there's a philosophy of contemplation that isn't just, I'm going to sit and meditate for a half an hour. No, I can actually be in a state of contemplation moment by moment. And that's beautiful to me, because it takes the meditative state as it is and brings it into life, which should happen anyway. But it also gives me a bit more confidence in the fact that because I do it by nature, naturally, I can now love it and appreciate it even more specifically as a part of who Titus is, So that was really a really great part about my studies recently about yoga, particularly, again, the yoga of karma. Look it up, check out the other possible yogas that are out there as well. Karma yoga, there's jhana, I think it's pronounced jhana, it's spelled Jnana. There's several other kinds of yogas too. It's near the front of the book from what I remember. Bhakti yoga, mantra yoga, tantric yoga, of course, Raja, like I said again, and Hatha yoga as well. And they all have different functions, different purposes. But as always, each of those yogas play and work together in different ways and weave into their own spheres as well. So that's that. Cool. Keep in mind, or heads up, my next video, I'm gonna have a special guest on. She's a girl from in town. I'm not gonna say who just yet, but you may already know by looking at my IG. Anyway, keep an eye out for her and for more guests to come later on, and keep a close eye out for more content as far as my yoga is concerned on my channel coming out as well soon. Back to scheduled programming. So, music, man. In the past, honestly, 3 days, I've rediscovered 2 artists that I had known for a while back. One first artist, I'm only going to do 2. One first artist, Foreign Exchange. This guy, this group right here, particularly that album right there as well. This actually is their first album that was released. The group is 2 guys, and the name expresses how they came together. The Foreign Exchange. There's one guy, Nicolay, I think he's from the UK, he's Dutch, I believe, and then this other guy, Fonte, who's American, black guy. And they were brought together somehow, and they were given a chance to create some music together. And it's been since 2004 that they've had this collective of hip hop and rap underlined by the production of this guy named Nicolay. Check it out. That album, of course, is really cool. I love the song Raw Life. I also love the song off another album of theirs. The song title is Take Off the Blues. It's a real smooth, get off work, come home and chill kind of vibe. Love this group. The other group that I also love in a slightly different genre is a group called Moonchild. Right, yeah. That album, of course, is also good as well. So it's a trio group. They are, where did they say they were from? They are Moonchild. Going down. They're from. They met in California at school. They're UK based. So great album, great artist, great trio. They have 3 projects out so far, 3 albums. Voyager, which is one that I like personally. Please Rewind, that I also like. And then Be Free is an album that they have as well. So check them out. Last thing, books and knowledge and information. I again want to look back into my past readings from years ago. The first book that I want to show you guys is going to be, where are we? Book by the name of Visioneering by Andy Stanley. Found this book years ago. Christian author. It's about visioneering, having a vision, seeing the vision, understanding how visions take time, they take collaboration, they take teamwork. But it's based on the story of Nehemiah in the Bible. It's a really good book. I read it twice. I recommend it many times as well. Check it out. Another book that I've read in the past is my first real boss, who's recently passed, rest in peace, Steve Jobs. Great biography written by Walter Isaacson. Awesome read, really good read. Thick book, but it gives you the truest look at Steve Jobs and how Apple as a company was birthed. After reading that book and seeing the films don't quite give him or them what the book did. So if you can, have some time, want to get to know who Steve was and get to know about the company Apple as well, check it out. And the last book is a book that my dear sister recommended me to read, as she's seen me in the process of getting better with my business, with my hustle, with my grind, with my yoga and my writing. And she wanted to let me in on a really good piece of information, piece of inspiration, piece of leadership content, so to say. This book right here called Humble, Hungry, and Hustle, right? I've read it about that much so far. Gems. When I tell you gems are in here. He's a Christian guy. It's not overly Christian. It's not overly like Bible or whatever, but it is underpinned by the Bible in a really good way. I recommend it highly. A lot of good content. I can do a quick look over the chapters or the sections. Be humble. Who are you? Be hungry. Where are you going? And hustle. How will you get there? Good chapters, good content. They're not long at all. He's a good storyteller. Really good information, really good book. So that's it for today, for this week rather. This will be up by the end of today. I hope again, like I said earlier, check out the vlog for next week with a guest. This week and next week, of course, hopefully for some yoga content. And then, yeah, that's it. Thank you again for following, for interacting. Look me up on IG and Twitter. Drop some comments in the bottom, in the bottom, and see and let me know what you guys think about what I'm sharing. Opinions, your thoughts, any suggestions that I think that you want to hear, or even some things that you may have been able to discover from what I recommended, book-wise and song-wise as well. So again, thank you guys so much. Peace, love.